chewing again?
Yes.
Meow boy. She's just doing her usual wild
She's
licks.
licking her paw.
Where's this one?
I support you.
Thanks. Is that what it comes down to? His voice was abruptly sharper. Good looks? Don't be stupid, Jacob. Is it the money then? He persisted. That's nice, I muttered, getting up from the tree. I'm flattered that you think so much of me. I turned my back on him and paced away. Don't get mad. He was right behind me. He caught my wrist and he spun me around. I'm serious. I'm trying to understand here and I'm coming up blank. His eyebrows pushed together angrily and his eyes were black in their deep shadow. I love him, not because he's beautiful or because he's rich. I spat the word at Jacob. I'd much rather he weren't either one. It would even out the gap between us just a little bit, because he'd still be the most loving and unselfish and brilliant and decent person I've ever met. Of course I love him. How is that hard to understand? It's impossible to understand.
It's true, Meow Boy. She loves Edward and he is a good person. She loves Edward and he is a good person.
Yes, he is.
This is great, Meow Boy.
That's a good...
This is great.
God, just don't bite.
I just can't move my cord.
Yeah.
Or...
It's under there now.
Or grab my book.
I got you.
Thanks. So nervous.
You're good, kitty.
Alright. I feel very loved though.
Good.
She's very sweet. She's chosen me.
She did choose you.
Oh, okay.
She's just super translucent like Bella.
She's pink. I can see the veins underneath her skin.
Go to sleep.
Alright.
Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
My name is Torrance. I mean, hi, this is Maren right here.
Let's go. Oh, I'm Emily.
And this is...
Bring it on.
Oh my gosh, we should do that.
We're just kidding.
Oh man, well, kind of.
We'll do that later.
Yeah, that'll be our next project.
Yes. Bring it on, the podcast. This is Remember
Twilight.
Where we talk about Eclipse.
Uh-huh.
We're talking about
Chapter by
4
chapter
today.
of Eclipse.
Yeah, as you heard in the song. Chapter by chapter, week by week.
Oh man, I
gotta
forgot
memorize
about
that.
our awesome song. You guys.
Because it's about love.
It's about wolves, but it's about love.
Okay.
So
Nature.
Nature is the name of this chapter.
Uh-huh.
Why?
I don't know, but you give me a quick recap-o of what happened last week.
Oh man. So I don't remember what happened before this at all.
Not important.
But Edward and Bella got to school and Jacob was there looking all huge and beautiful, intimidating, scaring all the kids at Forks High School. Why does Bella have 2 hot boyfriends who are going to fight each other? What is happening? And Jacob is looking amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And Edward is like, what are you doing here? Jacob makes Edward feel real bad.
As he should.
As he should. And then the principal comes and breaks up the fight and everybody goes to their classes.
Yep.
What else happened? I don't remember.
The
Anything
angry
else?
note conversation.
Oh, I love the angry
Yeah.
note conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. We start this chapter out saying that it's a very bad week for Bella.
Does she do a day by day?
She doesn't. She just says that she has been so very worried about Victoria and how nobody is validating her feelings.
Yeah. Well, and she goes, not panicking was easier said than done.
True.
Oh man, ain't that the truth?
So I'm getting that tattooed next.
I think that all of us can kind of be like, yeah, it's hard to not panic.
Oh yeah.
It's real hard.
Yeah, so all the Cullens are like, okay, Bella, it's gonna be fine. Carlisle's like, there's plenty of us. We've got Alice. It's important because of Charlie that we don't turn you into a vampire literal this very second.
Right.
Okay?
Stick to the original plan. We want to not break Charlie's heart.
Uh-huh. And then Esme's like, we're never going to let anything happen to you. Please don't be anxious. Gives her a little forehead kiss.
And then Emmett.
Our true fave of the series.
Everyone's best big brother.
I'm really glad Edward didn't kill you. Everything's so much more fun with you around.
Emmett has got this not panicking thing down pat. He knows how to not panic. You just make jokes and see the best in every situation.
Me and Emmett are the very opposite of people.
I'm trying to channel Emmett.
Oh, that's a great...
I'm trying to be like
Emmett.
I'm not gonna panic. I'm just gonna make jokes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not working very well, but I'm getting on it.
Rosalie doesn't have anything to say, but she does give
Just
Emmett a glare.
A beautiful glare over at Emmett.
That's fine. Alice is offended.
I would be too.
Truly.
She's like, you're not
trust
actually
me?
worried about this, are you?
Jasper does a quick, cool down, spread around the room thing. And, of course, Edward.
I need a Jasper.
Every day of my life.
Can somebody just get me a Jasper, please?
We're most annoyed at Edward because he's like, Bella, if you're so worried about it, then you simply just need to marry me and I'll turn you into a vampire, remember?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, so just get married.
Yeah, it doesn't really mean... What? It's just paper. What?
Get...
Just get... What? You could get married.
Me too.
And then just live your life like normal.
It's not like... I don't know. I don't know. It's fine.
We get through the week. Bella being worried. It's Saturday. And Emmett and Jasper really wanted to go hunting, and so Bella told Edward, go with them. It'll make you happy. You clearly need some time to yourself.
Yep.
And so he leaves, and Alice is going to stay close by just in case Bella needs her, aka don't try to go see Jacob.
Gross.
Super gross. Edward leaves her a note. He says, I'll be back so soon. You won't have time to miss me. Look after my heart. I've left it with you.
Honestly, he's going to be gone for one night.
It's such a long time.
Why do you guys have to be so weird? Like, I'll see you tomorrow. Love you. Bye. No. I've left my heart with you. Look after it. It's under your bed in a box.
He could do that.
I know. Think of how gross. Little stone heart. Actually, that'd be so
That'd be
cool.
kind of cool. I'd make like a necklace out of that.
Guys,
it'd be huge, but
it'd be so
still.
cool. Let's make some stone hearts.
Okay. I'll fire the kiln.
Okay.
Guys, if you forgot, Bella does still have a job.
Oh yeah, she works at the Outfitters. But
Yep.
guess what happened while she was like not doing well?
What?
They started training somebody else to take over for her.
Aww. Well, it's because she's going to be gone. She's leaving to college, and so they want to make sure that they're covered for the busy season. But let's see. So before she goes to work, Bella eats a bowl of cereal. Cheerio by Cheerio. Unheard of.
I know, she's so weird.
And
she just doesn't understand eating. It doesn't
either
mean
has to be all at
anything
one
to
time
her.
or one morsel by morsel.
She'll snarf an entire nature trail granola bar, but then it's one Cheerio at a time.
Yes.
Like she's 6 months old.
Isn't she? I forget sometimes.
She does a weird magnet thing that I think you guys should try with our magnets.
Oh yeah, try to force them together.
Take your Edward and your Jacob magnet that you guys bought from our Etsy shop.
Yep.
And put them back to back or front to front. I don't know if it matters.
Or front to back.
And I gotta take a break.
Should we do a quick demo? While you describe this, I'm gonna give our YouTube viewers something to watch.
I'm just very distracted by the front to back thing.
I mean, that's how you do it, right?
Yes. So you take your Jacob magnet and your Edward magnet that you bought from our Etsy shop, and you stick them and you try as hard as you can to make them stick together, to make them be friends. You put the pole next to the pole. You stick them together. Oh man, those are cute magnets.
They do stick back to back.
But perfectly?
Not perfectly.
No, you can't. You can't.
Oh, wait.
Bella
maybe.
tries. Emily's trying very hard to put these magnets together.
They won't shift
Perfectly,
quite all
but
the way. There's a little overlap.
They won't. The same thing happens to Bella. Oh.
They love
Emily.
a back to back.
When you put them
front to back, they just
they
fit
stick together
so
just
nicely.
fine. As is life. That was a really nice demonstration,
Thanks.
Emily. So that's what she does for like 10 minutes with the magnets on her fridge. She's like, I'm gonna make you be friends. Then they just break apart from each other.
Bella needs a therapist.
Me too.
She finally tells the magnets, there's no need to be so inflexible. Despite her best efforts of eating her cereal until it's smooshy moosh, she is still early to work. And it is a slow day, and so Mrs. Newton sends her home.
Oh, Mrs. Newton, she's a babe.
She should not be working here,
She's
says Bella.
got some high heels. She's got some, I don't know, leggings and a long shirt. She's got fingernails and hair and makeup.
Yes,
She's working it.
she is.
I love her.
Me too. She gives Bella a stack of flyers to throw away on her way out. And, conveniently, these are all about saving the Olympic wolf, and they have a beautiful drawing of a wolf on them.
And Bella, in a stroke of genius.
I have a plan.
Last minute! That's the way you do it!
Yes, I will run to the push right now.
Goodbye! Runs, chucks the flyers in her front seat.
Yep.
Hits the gas.
Yes.
Out of Forks.
Solid 55 miles per hour the whole way.
And Alice is not close enough.
No, she's like, I really hope that I get past the treaty line quick enough, and she sure does.
Yeah.
She pulls right up to the black house, and Jacob is at the door, both agog and aghast.
What does he do? He goes, Bella? Who else? Honest to goodness.
These boys. Not
Stop
knowing.
asking if it's Bella.
He runs over, pulls her out of the truck, and Hagrid hugs her.
Oh.
Billy says hello. He says, welcome back, but it's really more like saying welcome home. They're both so happy to see each other. Jacob is literally bouncing up and down, and they take a little walk to the beach and do a catch-up. It's all happy and happiness and happy until
it's not.
they have to talk about the serious stuff.
Yep. You got to get through it, and I think it's cool that Bella's like, yep, we got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna muscle through. I never do that. I'm like, why can't we just pretend like none of it ever happened and start fresh from here right now?
Right. Yeah. No
I'm a
problem.
big fan of that, even though it doesn't work most of the time.
True. So Jacob asks her if everything has just gone back to normal for her and if she just forgave Edward for everything he put her through. And she's like, well, yes, there was nothing to forgive.
Yeah, this is really cool because Jacob has been holding on to all this anger for so long. Like, he did this to you, he was da-da-da-da-da. Of course, he doesn't understand because he doesn't know from Edward's point of view because he hasn't heard it yet. So she decides to tell him, like, what happened. And he's kind of shocked and amazed by it.
Yeah, so she gives him the full overview of her trip to save Edward. And Jacob is doing pretty good at listening. He only interrupts her one time because Bella explains how Alice can't see the future, and he is pretty stoked about that. But he listens to her whole story.
Yeah.
And then he tells her everything that happened the weekend while she was away in Florida.
He's also tries to be very nice. He tries to stop saying filthy bloodsuckers.
Yes, he tries to give them all their own names. He says the really big one, and then there's that, like, the blonde one. Yes, Rosalie. So he tells her the same story that Edward does, only it has, you know, more details. Like, I don't know. What does he say?
He really describes the, like, stupid tension because Emmett accidentally crossed the line and, like, bumped into Paul or something, and Paul just broke out, and so Rosalie is like, oh no you didn't, not with my boy, and then the other boys are like, oh crap, Paul's gonna kill somebody, and so they have to stop the fight and go stop Paul from being an idiot, and by then Alice is like, oh no, and she runs over, and then Jasper finally, and so it's like this whole thing, and they lose Victoria. It's so stupid. And see, Edward didn't explain all of that.
No.
So, yeah.
Another detail that we get from Jacob, but not Edward, is the fact that when this all started, they were all being, like, very conscious of, like, not going over the line, which made it really hard. But once they got to this point, finally, Carlisle was like, you guys can come onto our side to catch her. Like, that's fine. Let's just, like, try to get her. But the wolves don't extend that back to the vampires.
And that's so important. And it shows, like, Carlisle has all of these, I mean, thousands of years of experience of, like, you know, let's solve this problem. And these guys are just boys. They're just boys. And they're like, no, this is our blah, 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 blah. I mean, they've been indoctrinated that it's like, these guys are bad no matter what.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yep. But they still don't catch her, even though Carlisle tries to figure out a way to make it easier.
I mean, you would think, like, they've got 6 of them, or no, 5 of them, whatever, and then all the boys, all the wolves. They could have easily gotten her if they hadn't been stupid. Ugh.
After he tells her what happened, he's like, I bet Edward just told you that Paul attacked Emmett without even, like, any blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, he told me the same story that you did. And he's like, oh. Stop trying to make Edward worse than he is. Jacob then goes on to tell Bella that Sam is mad at her.
Yeah.
And she's like, what the frickety frack did I ever do to Sam?
Yeah, and she's like, and why would Sam even think about me ever?
And why are you telling me this? And he's like, well, yeah, he thought finally he had found someone who would hate the Cullens just as much as he does, and he feels like you're a traitor for taking them back.
Weird.
And she's like,
such a weird thing.
So weird. Like, I never hated them.
I
don't understand where he got that from, but... So Sam's mad at her, Jacob's mad at her, it's this whole thing. And then we get a beautiful scene. Bella's looking out at the ocean and there's an eagle that catches a fish, and Jacob goes, that's kind of like you and Edward.
Yeah, see that fish didn't even have a chance. And then she's like, what if the fish was, like, trying to kiss the eagle? So weird, Bella.
They're so funny. Jacob just looks at her. She's like, eagles are good-looking birds. I don't know what to tell you.
And then the idiot Jacob is like, oh, is that what it comes down to? Looks?
No.
And what is it then? Money?
No,
it's not looks or money. Like, honestly, and I really think this is true about Bella because of who she is. She's like, it doesn't matter. I would actually prefer if he wasn't super beautiful and if he didn't have any money, because then things would be more equal between us. She's like, I love him because he's a good person. He's genuine and sweet and loves me. And I think that's true.
Yeah. Like,
of course, like, the intense beauty helps.
Right.
But I think that if it had been under other circumstances and it had just been like normal human Edward meeting normal human Bella, who the only reason Edward is super beautiful is because he's a vampire. Like, he's just a normal guy.
Yeah.
And if they had met naturally, I think they still would have fallen in love with each other. They were supposed to be together.
Yep.
No matter what. And so she's right, and she is telling the truth about that.
Yes. So she asks Jacob, like, what do you think is, like, the reason why you should love someone, since apparently I'm doing it wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, well, maybe you should try to look within your own species.
Ew.
And she's like, fine, I'll go marry Mike. Is that what you want?
And he's like, that's not what I meant. I'm human.
Well,
she's like,
kind of, sometimes.
Think about it.
Not really. And he's like, what? I didn't choose this. And she's like, well, neither did Edward.
Do you think that Edward wasn't like Bella. Edward wasn't like, please turn me into a vampire.
Edward hates the fact that he's a vampire.
Aww.
If Edward, like, he never says this, but I feel like he would do and give anything to be able to become a human.
Mm-hmm.
And he hates the fact that that's impossible, and so the only way for them to be together forever is for Bella to change, when all he wants is to, like, go back to the way he used to be.
I agree. He would
give it all up to spend, 50 years with Bella as a human.
He would love to grow old with her. Oh man, that's all he wants.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no, that's disgusting. You cannot. And he's like, that's all I want. Like, I don't care. And he's so good. Oh, baby.
What an angel.
I love him so much.
Yeah. Jacob's like, it's still not the same. Like, what's happening to me and what I am was born with me. Like, it was passed on from my family. It's not something that, like, happened to me. And also I am still human, even though I'm, like, very hot.
Yeah, I mean, he's super natural.
Mm-hmm.
But he still has blood and a heartbeat and whatever. He's right, but he's still a monster. He's still a supernatural being.
Mm-hmm.
So for him to be like, well, you could at least choose a human, is just a non-starter.
Not a...
Because it's the same thing.
But Bella's like, well, yeah, you look plenty human to me at the moment. And this is, like, a big breaking point for Jakey. He goes, I feel human. And then he starts to cry. And
he's so sad.
He just misses Bella so much. And she goes, this is why I was here. This is why I would take whatever reception waited for me when I got back. Because underneath all the anger and the sarcasm, Jacob was in pain. Right now, it was very clear in his eyes. I didn't know how to help him, but I knew I had to try. It was more than that I owed him. It was because his pain hurt me too. Jacob had become part of me, and there was no changing that now.
Oh, Jakey B.
Yep.
It's the egg, though.
It is.
She can give herself a break. He loves that little tiny bitty egg inside of that little tiny ovary. Think of how small her ovaries are.
So little.
But really, he's a sweetie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he puts on a big show. He doesn't know any other way to do it. He's been, oh, there's a puppy in the backyard. Sorry, I just got really distracted by the dog in the backyard. Oh, hello.
Come say hello.
I think that dog's name is Max.
Cute.
Anyway, he's cute.
Malfoy likes to look at it.
Yeah, he's a sweetie.
Your friend's here, Malfoy.
Anyway, Jacob, he has been taught from our society that in order to be masculine, it has to be a toxic masculinity. It's not his fault. He has a good friend in Bella, because she's a genuine person and she won't let him get away with his stuff. And he really is good. He's so sweet. And if more of our men were being loved and being nurtured and taught that it's okay to cry and it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to love somebody, we would have more peace and joy in this world. And Jacob's a good guy. And I don't blame anybody for being Team Jacob. I think he's great.
Oh,
if there was no Edward, I would want her to be with Jacob.
Totally.
100%. So anyway, I love him, and I'm so sad for him still. Like, I will be until that baby is born.
This kind of goes pretty nicely into an email that we received that I want to talk about really quick.
Love to.
And it's on a topic that is hard to talk about, and so I haven't tried before. But this email that we got kind of put it all very nicely and concisely so that I didn't have to do the work. So
awesome.
This is a email from one of our listeners named Jasper. So hello, Jasper. Thanks for writing. And he did give me permission to read this and share this with you guys. So he says, let's see. He says, I don't know if you guys have talked about this or brought this up yet, but just in case I feel obligated to talk about this, I might be bringing the mood down from your usual chats with fans, but I think it's really important to talk about the racism, especially anti-Native racism in the Twilight Saga.
Yeah, we have mentioned this before. This is something that's incredibly important to me. So yeah, okay, let's do it.
So I'm just going to read it because he said it very well. So he says, for one thing, we see the white Cullens calling the wolf pack dogs and making several jokes around this idea. This is really not great, with the effect of the comparison of people of color to animals being that they are less than human and more savage. We also see racist tropes throughout, for example, the wolf pack being very prone to anger and not being able to control their emotions, again making them seem more savage, dangerous, and scary. And while these may be tropes that are generally associated with werewolves in fiction, assigning them solely to non-white characters definitely stems from racism. Also, the fact that Leah becomes infertile as soon as she becomes a werewolf, considering that forced sterilization of Native women only became illegal very recently, is a very gross thing to assign to her. And finally, we get a white character who is set up to be a sympathetic and likable character, Jasper, who is then revealed to have been a Confederate soldier, and we get no acknowledgement in the novels that this is a bad thing. As adults, we may be able to recognize that these things are not okay, but considering that children as young as 8 are reading these novels, they can really absorb some of these messages and think that it might be okay. He goes, sorry again for the long email. I really appreciate you guys being so unashamed of liking Twilight in the modern day after it's received so much hate for small things in the series. Thanks for making a cool podcast and keep being awesome. So,
thanks, Jasper.
Thank you very much for writing that in
God,
and putting
beautiful.
into words things that I have been feeling and wanted to say but didn't quite know how to start the conversation.
Yeah, Emily and I have talked about it where we're like, it's not, because we're white women, and it's not, it's our place to say this is not okay, but I don't know how to talk about it because it's not me.
Right.
I come from such a privileged place of being a white woman in America and not ever having to deal with it on my own. And what I've seen of it is that, like, my brother served a church mission on the Navajo reservation, and I've seen how poor and destitute these people are, and what America has done to them. And I take a lot of time while I'm teaching my children about American history to teach them why this is happening and what happened actually and how wrong it was. And so I talked about it with Emily, not on the podcast, but just the two of us, to be like, should we talk about this? Is this something that we have any right to even talk about? And I mean, we've both just kind of been like, let's not talk about it yet, because we don't know how. We come from such a different place. And so I really appreciate that perspective so much. And I will gladly listen to anybody who has anything to say about it to me, because it's very important to me.
Yes.
Very, very important. So thank you so much, Jasper.
Yes.
And please, everybody who is listening, take that to heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
And know how important it is.
Yeah, and if you specifically are someone who's affected by any of these things and feel like you want to reach out and for us to share your thoughts on it too, like, that's what we're here for. Send us an email. Yeah,
we're big. I mean, I'm a big bleeding heart liberal, so give it to me.
Yep. So, anyways,
you guys are amazing. This is why we have like the best fan base.
I know, they're so understanding and supportive. And
Twilight fans nowadays are always have been, are so smart. And this Twilight renaissance that's been happening is so important, because we can all, and this is what I've seen, and I didn't even know it was happening when we started making the podcast. Like, we just started making it. I didn't even know. It was like 3 months in, and Emily was like, look at this Tumblr. And I was like, what is this? And it was just Twilight memes. Yep. I had no idea that this was happening. I thought I was the only person who still loved Twilight in the world. And so I was like, I didn't know that there was a safe place to talk about this. The Twilight fans nowadays are so smart. There's so much awareness, but we all know that we can love this and see the faults in it.
Yes.
And it's a beautiful place to be. It's beautiful to be like, I can love this thing that's problematic.
Mm-hmm.
I can love this thing that feels yucky sometimes because I'm smart enough to recognize why it's yucky and to talk about it and get past it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Me
I love
too.
it. So thank you so much, you guys.
Yeah.
We are so lucky.
We are
So
incredibly
lucky. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
All right, you guys. Thanks for remembering Eclipse with us yet again today.
Thank you so much.
We love it.
We love it.
We love you.
We love you.
We love you probably equal amounts as we love Eclipse.
Probably.
So that's a high compliment.
Okay, cool.
What funny thing happened?
Oh, what was this chapter about?
I literally couldn't even tell you.
And remember, if you're going to escape your oppressive boyfriend, do it with a snap decision.
Oh, yes. Cool. See you guys next week.
All right, love you.
Bye.
Bye. I like to do a fade out.
Yes. Hi.
Oh, you're treating Emily like she's a piece of furniture. You are, Ari.
Like a claw sharpener, a bed.
Bye, everybody.